Hello and welcome. I forgot to shut the volume on this off. There we go. Technology. Hello and welcome to the Electric Car Hangout. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. Welcome. Thanks for joining today. Had a little issue with the timer. That's why I was kind of floating between two computers and didn't have that audio off. But we're here now and welcome. So today was the big reveal of Volkswagen's ID.Buzz, the replacement for the 60s minibus, the mystery machine, the cool surfer vehicle, top-notch hippie mobile. And we first saw the concept in like the mid 2000s, I want to say, and we've keep having these teases of it's coming. And today was almost kind of one of those. Hi Todd, welcome. And it was like I was all pumped. I sat down on the couch, watched it on the TV, and there wasn't a ton to it. Now, the version they came out with looks pretty good. Not quite as cool as the concept, but not as bad as some of the camouflage or different versions that we were seeing driving around. So that's good. I think from the front, it looks fantastic. From the side, it looks really good. From dead straight on the back, it looks really boxy and terrible. But, that's one angle that's bad out of the rest of them being pretty good. So I felt like it was a pretty good, like they settled on a pretty good design. The concept seemed to have a lot more leg room, where the seats and the back seats were pushed back a little further, and it was more of a hangout space, and I think the front seats could swivel back so you could hang out in there. That went away. But according to Doug DeMuro's video, he seemed to feel like there was plenty of leg room. And it's got some cool features, so I wanted to talk about it. The event itself was a little strange. And they kind of kicked it off, and they had Ewan McGregor there, which is cool. It kind of felt like, hey, Ewan, pour some of your laid-back handsomeness on this, but, you got to wear a jacket because, we aren't animals. So, we got to be semi-formal, at least, for this. But, I thought that was kind of cool, talking about, his enthusiasm for, his history with VW cars and how he's already converted a VW similar to a bus to an electric, and he's using that around his property and stuff and moving and things. So that was all, pretty cool. And then you have him go look at the car. I can't remember if this was the first take or the second kind of B-roll package they went to. But so they introduced the car, and then they come back to the same guy who was interviewing Ewan, and it's this other VW executive who's very much, no offense to him, but he's very much not Ewan McGregor. And it was just a moment of, whoa, what happened? And then, they did their spiel. They went back to Ewan another time or two. One of him kind of walking up to the car or to the van and checking it out. So, it was, I guess it's good to have a little star power there. The trailer for the Obi-Wan show just dropped today. Obviously, that wasn't a tie-in in any way, but, he's got stuff going on right now. So, you know, kind of cool, but unnecessary. I would have liked, and again, no offense to Ewan, I think he's fantastic, but I would have preferred less celebrity and more details about the vehicle than we really got. Um, the thing that first made me get out my notepad and like, what the hell was that? Was they were talking about the kind of some of the driver assistance features and how it's it'll stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk and stuff, which is great. But the sound it made as it stopped, it was kind of this ka-chunk stop. I'm like, really? That's the first driving impression you're going to share with us? Is this crazy sound as it quick stops? It sounded kind of like an old minibus stopping. Now it's fine. It was short stopping and everything, but just from a production standpoint, that was an odd thing to put early in your reveal. Like, it'll stop, but look at this horrible, or listen to this horrible sound it makes. Kind of odd, but hey, Jason. Hey, Glenn. Welcome. Yeah, so, cool feature, bad way to present it, I thought. Like, if you know it makes that sound, maybe show us the point of view from in the car. I guess maybe, you could say to their credit, they're not hiding anything. But in a promotional video, and maybe it was just the sound from my TV that made it weird, but it was just kind of an odd deal. They talked a little bit about lane change assist, and so I would guess like a basic nav on autopilot kind of deal coming, and they want to have it. They say they have it ready to be autonomous in 2025. So, what does that exactly mean? And, is that just, that's a date we think we can hit? Or, what is their thinking there? I'm not sure. Great if they can do it, but there was very little meat on that part of the presentation, in my opinion. They talked about bidirectional charging, but it kind of sounded like it was to home only. Like if you had this charging set up in your garage, you could use it to power your home in certain circumstances. Again, that was very... It seemed like a feature we're throwing in there, but haven't figured it out yet or don't know exactly what we're going to do. With a vehicle like the F-150 Lightning, it's got outlets all over it, so that's all set up for doing beach kind of things. But if this vehicle is... Now, obviously, there's going to be like a cargo version for businesses and stuff like that. But if this is supposed to be the new cool 60s hangout, at the beach kind of vehicle, you would think they would have something closer to what the Kia EV6 has, where it's, you can charge your robot dog, or you can charge, other stuff. You can set up like a little, camping station or cooking station at your, beach hangout and make clams or whatever people do. You can tell I'm from Minnesota. I know people go to the beach. I know they do cookouts at the beach. What do they cook? Who knows? But anyway, so hopefully that's not bidirectional charging just to home, which it sounded like, and maybe in a couple years when it gets here, we'll talk about that a bit later, that it would be a little more versatile, because that would be cool. Power liftgate seemed nice, big, it opens all the way from the top, and seems to have a pretty cavernous opening, so that's cool. I think all of them are going to be rear-wheel drive, and with the cargo ones at least, you can get like double doors that open, like that, or the lift gate, and then the doors on the side would slide. So, all in all, like I think it's seems pretty functional. Some cool things. The cargo version would have a barrier, like cargo vans do, with either you could either have it have windows or not. That's not really a big feature, but nice that they're planning on being able to separate that space. One of the reviews I watched on it said that there might be a glass roof version, which would be cool. I don't think that was part of the official presentation, though. And it would be really cool from a camping standpoint, being able to lay in there and have that glass roof of that much space. Would be pretty cool. And then they kind of showed off some of the little Easter eggs. Like there's a little panel in the door handle that's got like a winky smiley face. It's got the lighting like the ID.4 has. I assume the ID.3 does as well. We don't get that here. At the very end of their presentation, as it was kind of the sign-off video for it, they showed the headlight swivel, like in the socket. And I don't think that's something they talked about, but I thought, that's cool. Why didn't you talk about it? And maybe the ID.4 already does that. I don't know. But on the inside, the concept was very concept car-y, for the inside. To some degree, for people getting used to it and knowing their way around, having it be so similar to the ID.4 is probably good. It does have kind of a cool nook for cell phone charging, a couple USB-C ports in the front, and then a very cool feature, the center console, which would be under, if you're in the US, if you're driving, it would be under your right arm. That you can press a button and pull that out. And then it becomes more of like I want to say like a cargo van from the 80s where, with the bucket seats and you could just walk up through the middle. So that, I think, has some potential to at least give it a cool feel, more of that hangout atmosphere that the concept had, even if the seats don't swivel all the way around. So I think that has potential. What they've got in that console is also, seems pretty functional. 4 front seats and back seats, and like the little dividers. I think Doug DeMuro pulled those out. One of them's an ice scraper, and the other one is I can't remember. You'll have to go watch his video. But it really seems like they thought about the space. They used the space well. There's buttons on the front dash for controlling the side the side doors on each side. That seemed pretty good and useful. Didn't seem overly buttoned and cluttered, but just enough. And my only dislike about it, but I don't think you can make cars like this again anymore, is the the appearance of it and the appearance of old the old VW bus, and how you would drive that is you would be right up by that glass, and the steering wheel's, a foot from the glass maybe, and you're sitting up there kind of upright right at the front of the vehicle. And I know for crash worthiness and safety and everything, you really don't want that. So it's got this almost flat front, and then goes up to kind of that curved windshield. And then when you look at it from the side, where the driver's actually sitting is behind a pretty big triangular window, and then there's the driver's side window. Like I said, I don't think in modern times with modern crash test needs, safety concerns, that you can put a driver just hanging off the front of the vehicle like that anymore. But it was a little disappointing. I would have liked to have seen that compressed a little bit somehow. But I'm sure they did their best, and it does look pretty good. On the thumbnail of this, I had kind of both of the vehicles. Sorry, that was probably loud. I had both of the vehicles kind of side by side, so you could kind of check those out. But yeah, I think overall they're going to sell every one they can possibly make. I've heard a couple comments about it's not going to be very fast. It's going to have a 78 kilowatt hour battery, I think. And in that shape and size, especially if you're hauling a lot of cargo, is the range going to be around, 200 maybe? They didn't really say. Is the extended body the longer wheelbase version that we're going to get in the US going to maybe have a little bit more? Would that maybe have the glass roof? We don't know, and we won't know, because that's not really going to be... I don't think you can even order it till 2023, and deliveries will start sometime 2024. So we wait again. And so we have this reveal. It's good. Obviously, I think they're gonna start producing them this year in Germany, or in the EU. So, that's good. It makes sense that they have a reveal. I don't think they gave us any pricing or range. So some of that stuff, for a big reveal, it would have been kind of nice to have some more info. The one thing that is important is Ellie thinks it's super cute. And without me saying it looks like it's their take on the 60s bus, she brought that up. Now, Ellie actually knows cars really well, so that's not a slight on like she wouldn't know it, but she obviously got the reference right away and was like, yeah, it's really cute and I like it. In the pictures and stuff, it looks pretty small. Then when I watched Doug DeMiro's video, Ben Sullins did a video on it, and Inside EVs had a video on it. And seeing people actually walking around it and how tall they are compared to it, or sitting in it, or sitting in the back, I think it's bigger than it looks. It's got a cute look, so it looks small, but I don't think it's quite that small. I don't think it's quite as big as the old ones. It'd be interesting. I'm sure someone will park them side by side, but it'll be interesting when we start seeing those come out and people do comparisons, do mods. I think the first many of them to come to the US are going to be purchased by surf shops and, companies that want to sell that vibe, and they'll be used as merch trucks or food trucks or things like that, which is fine. I just wonder how many actual people are going to be able to get their hands on them and how many they'll produce. But we will find that out. So yeah, the big bummer is the release is still a couple of years away for us in the U.S. and North America. So that's the downside. But that's, it should be cool. The maybe lower range, I think, is going to be fine because this isn't. Although a lot of people will probably want a road trip in it. I thought I saw somebody talking about the charging speed was going to be capped at like 175 kilowatts or something like that, which isn't fast, but again, that's kind of all dependent on how the charging curve is, and if it can hold most of that for a long time, that should be okay. And by 2024, 2025, by the time real people start getting them in large numbers, there's going to be enough charging to be able to handle that. So you probably will be able to road trip in it if that's the kind of thing you want to do. So I don't know. I'm very interested to see what you guys think. The knock on it, I've seen some people with the I'd never buy a VW product because of Dieselgate, and I get that. But every company's got their stuff, and for different people, different things are going to be the red line they won't cross, and that's fine. That's why there needs to be a bunch of brands doing a bunch of good capable EVs. So there's something for everybody. But they've got Dieselgate, Polestar, and Volvo are now owned by a Chinese company. So you've got the China stuff there. People don't like all of Elon's tweets, and so for them, Tesla's out. When Toyota comes up with one, are people going to be accepting of a company that fought EVs so hard? The GM, well, they've got the Bolt thing, but that's mostly kind of gone over. But they did crush the EV1. They've lobbied hard against higher emission standards. So do you go with something from them? Ford makes all their money off the big polluting trucks. Do you go with them? Well, they're still doing that. So like I said, everybody's going to have their issues, and you got to kind of see which ones you can live with. And if a company's making the right moves, which VW seems to be trying to, I'm a little more skeptical of them now since they've kind of shoved Herbert Diess to the side. But in general, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. The people that have the ID.4 love the ID.4, at least from what I've seen. So, hopefully by 2024, 2025, this product is super good, and people will love it. But I think they hit the look as close to the concept, or close enough to the concept, which looked really stellar. I think they got close enough to it that the people who were worried about it 6 months ago can relax, in my opinion. Let's catch up here on... Glenn says, I only saw one pic on Twitter, but at least it looked closer to the prototype than I had predicted. Yep. I have low expectations when it comes to those things. Yeah, they They can really just murder good concepts, and it's too bad. Doug DeMuro has an updated video about the car. I think I saw the one he posted today. They must have had an embargo and just lifted it because everybody posted this afternoon. Or maybe because I watched that, I saw them all this afternoon. I'm not sure, but let's see. Just saw this on Twitter regarding the Hummer. Oh, okay. It's the first production Hummer EV I've seen for sale. And of course it's listed for $310,000. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter too. That was... I wonder if that's the one that they auctioned off. Like, is that a special... like the one they auctioned off, did someone then just turn around and sell it? I don't know. But yeah, obviously that's a huge cost for a big vehicle. And now, I don't know if people who really love the Hummer are going to... I was thinking, like, the people who bought the old Hummer, a lot of them, money wasn't an object, really. It was more about, like, hey, I'm getting this big monster truck. So maybe someone like that would snatch it up, but I would think, if they were savvy at all, they'd wait 6 months till there were a handful produced and get one cheaper. But I don't know that we really know... Because I think at the end of the year, GM had only produced one, and that was for this auction. So have they produced more of them? Is it just was it a one-off? They did all that promotion, all that marketing for one vehicle to... I hope not. I mean... The vehicle's super inefficient and, has all sorts of problems as far as being an efficient, good EV. But at the same time, like, if it can switch some people over from the other Hummer or like a F350 or something like that, then it's probably a net positive. So I hope they make some of them. Just not a ton of them. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what GM does, because I guess maybe we'll know after, sometime in April after their first quarter, if they do an earnings call or something where they would maybe talk about how their EV plans are progressing. I don't know. I mean... If they're focused right now on making Bolt owners happy, then that's probably a good thing, and replacing batteries, and there do seem to be a lot of them getting replaced. So, that's good, and taking care of those people is kind of like putting new EVs on the road. Not exactly, but, it's getting people new batteries and new battery warranties and stuff. So I guess I feel like they're just really treading water, and we'll see. I did come across a clip today. I'm editing the second part of the road trip video, and I came across I think it was in South Carolina, North or South Carolina, kind of in the boondocks, and we drove past a Chevy dealer, and they had the Bolt EUV on the lot. Now, I didn't have time to stop and go ask about it or anything, but I saw it and got some B-roll of it, as we were, I think, going through stoplights and stuff. I was able to get a shot with my phone of it. So, cool that it was there. Yeah, are they marking it up? Are they Is it for sale? Does it still need a battery swap? Is that why it was there? Who knows? But that was a cool thing on this trip. Is on a lot of other trips I've taken, at least the early ones, you would see occasionally a Tesla, and you'd wave like mad and like, hey, another EV. And now on road trips, it's pretty common you see a handful of Teslas going almost anywhere. But seeing some of those other EVs, and I think we saw 3 or 4 Mach-E's, and I got some clips of those, a Taycan. And so now it's kind of getting that way with the other EVs, is you see one, you're like, hey, that's a thing. So, that's starting to be more exciting. So, but the fact, like I'm saying, like GM feels like it's treading water, but I'm starting to see more of those Mach-E's out there, and hearing more about deliveries of them, and so that's all good. Let's see. Tony's here. Hi, Tony. He says, ID.Buzz looks cool. I'll wait for the smaller Cybertruck that fits in my garage. Yeah, they might be here about the same time. So, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I guess a smaller Cybertruck might fit in a garage. I may have talked about this before on the live stream, but I live on a residential, suburban street with a lot of pickup owners, and almost every one of them parks in the driveway. And most of the houses around me were built in the 60s, and the garage doors just aren't that tall, or the garages aren't that deep. So most, like my neighbor's got I think that there's one with a Ram, there's one with a Ford F-150, there's a couple F-150s, Silverado, and they're all just in the driveways all the time. So I think if a lot of Tesla car owners switch to the Cybertruck, or a lot of car owners switch to the Cybertruck because it's Tesla and it's a truck, I think they're going to be surprised that, there's already been, right after the reveal was like, it's got to fit in my garage, and I just don't think that's going to happen for a lot of people. But if they make the smaller version, the kind of the Euro version, it would be cool if there was something like that that would fit in a garage. Tony says the Electric Viking has a good video asking the question, can companies actually make a profit on EV trucks? That is a good question. Bigger batteries and lower production. Well, in the case of like a Ford, their bread and butter is trucks. So I don't think they'll have a problem with, hitting high production numbers. Sourcing all the batteries, that could be an issue. But, they can sell as many F-150 Lightnings as they could possibly make for the next several years. And if we assume who knows with how prices are going right now, but if we assume in general battery costs will go down over time, if things like what's going on are not long-term problems. I've got a box elder bug flying around in here, so sorry about that if you see that. When the house warms up, they start to show up all of a sudden. It's fantastic living in an older house. But I guess in general on the EV trucks, I think it's going to take a company like Rivian a long time to to get profitable. And can they survive that long making Amazon vehicles? They just raised their prices. We talked about that last week. So it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough for the Fords to take the leap, but they have the brand recognition and the customer base that I think if they play their cards right, they should be able to do it. And if maybe they make, they come out with a Lightning and that's the big battery, more expensive vehicle, and then maybe they come out with a Maverick, an electric Maverick or something that maybe only needs, 78 kilowatts or something. It's not a towing truck. It's a, help your buddy move truck. They might be able to make that work. And Ford's going to get, well, Rivian should too, but already Ford's been implementing some of the things they've learned from Sandy Munro's teardown. And if they continue doing that, and hopefully their new Ford Model E division will help them do those things of being able to move faster, make faster changes, make improvements quicker. If they get the kind of people who can do that, and do that on a software side and a battery management side, if they can get the right people and move efficiently, they should be able to up their game pretty fast. Now, does Arivian have the talent pool or the name cachet to get and keep those kind of people? I don't know. They're kind of the cool startup truck company, so I would think so. But, we just don't know that much about them. And it's hard to know without insider information, without talking to people there. I guess the goal for all of them should be get your production up fast and get your production numbers up fast, which is kind of where Lucid is struggling, where Rivian is struggling right now, is getting to the point where they can do enough production to spin the flywheel up. Hey, Roland, welcome. You're never late. We're just hanging out. It's all right. It's cool. Welcome. I hope the weather up in northern North Dakota isn't too awful right now. I think we might have something coming, but I haven't really looked. So those are my big thoughts on the ID.Buzz, but if anybody else has anything on that, let me know. The other things that have kind of been going on is, we talked a little bit last week about Starlink going to Ukraine, and I guess they just got another shipment with adapters and generators and all sorts of stuff. So SpaceX is, and apparently Tesla is too, kind of working to help facilitate that over there. So good luck. I hope they can keep that rolling and keep communication flowing on that side. Then kind of a funny thing happened is the Today Show did a thing about how you can save gas. And I'm sure a lot of people saw it, and, it was, turn your car off when you're idling, in traffic. Make sure your tires are pumped up. I think there were a couple other tips. And, maybe it was like oil changes or something like that. But, of course, they were doing this in a Ford Mach-E, which is an electric car. And a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, well, doing that in an electric car is a really easy way to save gas," and kind of making fun of them as if the person didn't know, and maybe she um, didn't know that it was an EV. I think the average person, all of us people in the EV space, are like, "That's an EV. That's an EV." Um, but other people, I think would just be like, "Yeah, those are all things you need to do in a gas car to save gas." Um, I don't know if they ever acknowledged that it was an electric car. I didn't see the whole piece. I just saw segments. And in one, you can see her like talking about tire pressure, and she's kneeling right next to the charge port for the Mach-E. So kind of funny, kind of odd, but it's one of those things that I don't think really matters at all. Um, I guess for the people who know, it's kind of fun. Maybe it was an Easter egg. Maybe they did bring it up in part of the story, or like an intro to the story or outro, or something where they're like, so there's all these tips, but really with this vehicle, you wouldn't even have to do those things because this is electric. Um, there may have been some kind of mention of that. Um, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't put it past them. On things like that, depending on how involved the talent is in the story. And I don't watch the Today Show, so I don't know anything about these people. But depending on how involved they are in the story, they might just be reading a script and what do I do and where am I going? Okay. And you want me to press this button? Then we go in the back. I say my little piece back here. Then I kneel down by the tire and I say my little piece here. Okay, let's roll. And they may have not had a clue that it was an electric car. So you just never know how those things are put together. And so I guess had she been saying specifically like, and on this car you need to this or that, treating it as if it were a gas car, I guess that was the insinuation, but they didn't expressly say that, so I don't really have a problem with it. It's just kind of an odd thing that I think a lot of people saw. And then last week, Elon was talking about we need to drill for more oil. Or I don't think it was drill for more. I think he was talking about producing more. So I bet that made Roland's buddies up in the oil field really feel really good up there. And yeah, I mean, we've now banned imports of Russian oil, natural gas, and coal, which is going to make prices rise and stuff. And there's been a lot of talk about do they need to open up more leases, more land, and the White House kind of pushing back on that and saying you have like millions of acres available that we granted you access to drill on that are still being unused. So, if you're going to drill, you've got places to do it. And in other places, you can just pump more or, and then there's a matter of refineries and stuff like that. And I think in the short term, yeah, that's a thing that that probably needs to happen, to ease that burden, to kind of balance out things on our side. And hopefully, we still keep the investment in renewables and keep pushing that as fast as we can. But I don't really have a problem with Elon saying that. I don't like it, but I like buying Russian oil right now a lot less, as hospitals are being bombed and things like that. I think it's the right move. But there has to be a balance. And one of the things that really struck me a couple years ago when I was doing the Well Done Foundation coverage, there's a whole playlist on my channel about them capping unused oil wells or wells that don't produce anymore and that are just kind of left to vent methane and stuff. But, I had really no background or no idea about any of that stuff. And realistically, let's face it, I still don't. But I was talking to the guys working there, and this has been their livelihood the whole time. And, one of them was talking a lot about how everybody wants plastics, medical supplies, tires, all this stuff. You want you want vegan leather. Well, that's a lot of times made out of oil products. We want all these things, even if we don't want people burning oil as or burning gas into the atmosphere. We still want all these products, and and some of them are essential to modern life, modern society. Some of them could go away, but a lot of those medical things are just needed. And a lot of people have a problem of not in my backyard. I want that to be produced. I want all these goods, but I don't want it anywhere where I can see it, smell it, or it's going to be in my consciousness. And that kind of struck me. He was talking about someone who didn't want oil ships coming into their port, but they want cheap gas. They want, all these things in their home, and tires on their car. And where is that stuff supposed to come in? So since the Well Done Foundation thing, as much as I'm glad they're capping these unused wells, I've been a little more tolerant of, I'm talking to you through a camera that's got a whole housing and lens and everything, plastic, to the stuff on my desk, to the, pens I write with, everything. Some of it needs to be produced somewhere. So, as much as I don't like ramping up on something I wish would, slow to a trickle, for right now, for this cause, with a plan in place for renewables accelerating as fast as we can, I'm kind of on board with that. So I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but just kind of wanted to share that perspective of, these guys working to help, plug the wells were, like oil wells workers. Roland works up there. Not in Montana, in North Dakota. And it's not evil people trying to do the worst thing. It's, there's there's a demand for this stuff, and, we want to supply it. So, that could be a whole, multi-hour discussion with people who are much smarter about it than me, but just an interesting perspective. Dennis says, it just goes to the show, the Mach-E looks like an everyday ice vehicle. Yeah, it kind of does. But I think that's what a lot of people like about it, is it doesn't scream, I'm different. It's got enough styling that, the people who know can tell, or people who are really into Mustangs might look at it and go, hey, what's the thing that's got, these Mustang taillights, but it's not a Mustang, or is a Mustang, that's a whole nother debate I'm not going to get into. But, I think that's the case of the ID.4 too, as I was talking about the EVs I did see on that trip. I wonder, does the ID.4 blend in so well that I saw a bunch of them and didn't notice? And maybe that's exactly what ID4 owners want. I would think I'd be able to spot them, but, you know, when you're the only driver with a kid in the car, that's a lot to. There can be a lot to pay attention to. Glenn says she said it's her third EV. Was using her personal car to help folks conserve gas in nice vehicles. Okay, I'm guessing that's talking about the Today Show piece. Okay. Well, that's cool that it's her third EV, though. Would have been funny if she had a Tesla and say shut it off and then be like, this car doesn't have that feature. Yeah. Um, yeah, it is still odd that like the Mach-E and apparently the Kia e-Niro has like two off buttons. I'll talk about that in a minute here. Um, Dennis says we do need to drill for more oil in the short term till the transition to EVs and renewables. Petrochemicals are all around us, including your clothing in many instances. Yeah. Um, yeah. Eyeglasses as well. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much when you think about like everything you come in contact with has plastics or something in it, and it'd be great to get rid of or not use those all, or not use so much, or not use so much packaging and all that kind of stuff, reducing all of that. um, but definitely we want to stop burning it. That's a huge waste. So um, yeah, hopefully we can make that transition. And like the whole goal of Tesla is transition the world to sustainable um, energy and everything. So um, I mentioned the Kia e-Niro, and John, who's usually in the chat, I haven't seen him here today yet, but uh, John is having some repairs, some body work done to his Model Y. And so he's got a Kia e-Niro, I think a 2021 model, from Enterprise Rental Car. And so this coming Tuesday, I'm going to hang out with him, and we're going to drive around, check it out. I've seen a couple in person, but never driven it or ridden in one. I want to park it right next to the Model Y because I thought it was a little bit bigger, and I haven't seen them exactly side by side, but at a couple car shows they were in close enough proximity, so I want to kind of compare that size, look at some of the features. It's supposed to be a super efficient EV, so that's great. I don't know now with Kia, bringing out the EV6. Is the Niro going to kind of die on the vine, or if they're going to kind of keep pushing with that? But the we're going to do some testing and some just kind of impressions of the EV6, or no, of the e-Niro. And then he's also got a Tesla tap, which is a J1772 connector that can go on a Tesla plug. And so other vehicles can use Tesla destination chargers, not superchargers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So I don't know. I guess that one might be weeks away because I was hoping to do the Florida trip in 2 episodes, but the first part, just getting down to Knoxville, was 40 minutes. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be over an hour long if I get us all the way to Florida, because I want to show some of the cool sights and scenery around Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And that's kind of how this next one starts. The morning after we left off in part 1 is where we pick up for part 2. And kind of the drive through Great Smoky Mountains. I talk a little bit about how much range we used going up and then how much we got back coming down. And it just, being from the cold weather and then going down there and traveling huge distances and not losing range is just bonkers. Like, they have no idea how good they have it. But you can just go so far in an EV once you get like in those above freezing temperatures. So so part 2 will be on Sunday. So we drive through Great Smoky Mountains National Park, meet up with EV Dave for a while. Unfortunately, with Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy, and Dave, like, I'm talking to them, we're having lunch and everything, and I didn't shoot a ton, and, I kind of feel bad. I'm, like, putting this part in the video of, like, yeah, this was a big destination to see these guys, and then, well, and here's them waving, and goodbye. But we had a good time with Dave down in Asheville, North Carolina. Then it'll be our drive to the coast and some of the beach stuff we did there. And then part 3, I'm going to do kind of a comparison. It's going to be our drive from Orlando straight back. And we did stop for 2 nights along the way, but I want to compare that to the trip we took in 2020 with our Model S. And now there are more superchargers open. The Model Y can go farther on a charge, I think, but we're going to compare the charging stops along the way. And the Model S had free supercharging, so I can't compare the costs, but I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how the difference between a 2015 car and a 2021 car with almost the same size battery. I think the Model Y has a 75 or 78 watt-hour battery, or kilowatt-hour battery. Watt-hour battery wouldn't get us very far. And then the Model S was a 85D. So similar size batteries, different efficiencies, a little bit different temperatures, but also, more superchargers to choose from. So I think the part 3 will be pretty interesting, have lots of data. I'll show the data from the chart. I've got everything mapped out, and I can actually show you that. I was planning on talking about this at the very end, but I'm talking about it now. So if we look at, that's all stuff. So this is my spreadsheet of the trip, and I've got everything from temperatures to state of charge, how much charge we used at each stop. Some of these are blank. This middle section, I don't know if you can see you can see my mouse here. This section as well, we were down in Cocoa Beach, and I didn't do a lot of stat taking, but we just charged at Rockledge, Florida, which was just the next island over. Charged there a couple times and did a little destination charging at Kennedy Space Center. So that'll all be in that video. And then this run up from Ocala to home, we'll compare that to what we did in 2020. So for those of you who like data, this should be fairly interesting, I hope. Ellie had, she was going between jobs, just started her new job this week, and toward the end of last week, as I was editing, she was saying, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can watch this old video and take notes on all the data that I never wrote down. It's all in the videos, but I didn't ever do a spreadsheet for it." So, yeah, hopefully that's interesting to people. I hope it's not too much data. I know people like data, but we'll see. Jason had something on there about racing the Plaid. That which I didn't catch what he was saying exactly, but the National Hot Rod Association, or whatever it is, just changed the rules so that the Plaid can do, I think below 9-second, or maybe it's down to 9-second quarter miles. But I think the top speed is still like 150 or something, so they might have to pull off a little bit so they don't cross that. I'm not sure what the new rules are, but I saw a lot of people on Twitter, in the Plaid world, very happy that they don't need a roll cage and a parachute and, won't get kicked off tracks and after one run. Oh, there it is. Racing my Plaid all out with the new NHRA, allowing them will give the ice racers something to think about. Yeah, definitely. When you go up there, definitely let me know, because I want to watch that and film it. That will be fun. Dennis is planning to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina from Milwaukee at the end of the month. Should be fun in my Model Y. Definitely. Or Model 3 Performance. I have unlimited supercharging. Yeah, then it'll be very good. That should be a pretty good trip. It should be maybe 1,000 down, 1,000 back, maybe. I'm trying to think. Maybe a little more. But should be fun, and you should be able to do it in a couple days and enjoy yourself. We had, I did have my daughter with me, so if we go to the spreadsheet again, everybody loves looking at spreadsheets, right? If we go to this again, I do have like the the charging time it was suggested, and our total stop. And here we needed 30 minutes. We were there for 45. We needed 9. We were there for 15. We needed 25. We were there for 28. So we were just consistently over what the car was saying we needed. And that was just all based on, diaper changes and, the line at the store, or we want to go to that restaurant instead of that one, so we walked a little further. So if you're traveling with children, don't worry about your charging times. You're going to use them up. If you aren't, you'll just spend a little more time on social media, or you'll watch YouTube videos on your screen. I have to admit, I've got a couple extra views by watching my own videos. I'm goosing my numbers in the Tesla because it's not on my account. Or I'm not signed into my account. Wait a minute, can I admit that on YouTube? What have I done? Let's see. John says I need to get a roof rack and put a mattress on the roof. 70-mile-an-hour range test. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Actually, my wife and I were just talking about, with the rising gas prices, and she's now working from home for the foreseeable future, and I work from home, should we sell our Prius? Gas prices are high. People would want to get into something more efficient. It's a 2008, so it would be cheaper. At least until the end of April, we need 2 cars. Just from some, well, no, I guess that would be the end of May. I don't know. We're starting to think about it, but one of the considerations is we have a roof rack on the Prius, so we can put like a kayak on it, or we just kind of inherited a canoe last year, which looks hilariously big on a Prius, but would look probably just right on a Model Y. The question is the Model Y so tall? In our short garage, would putting a roof rack still clear the garage door? So we're kind of thinking through that, and if we've got 2 cars that are mostly sitting around, does it make sense to give someone else the chance to get into something relatively cheap and more efficient? It probably does, if we can make it work with 1 car. Because if we just have to go out and buy another thing, then, what's the point of doing it? Even if we could go all electric, like get an old Leaf or something like that. But then again, somebody else who maybe needs it more could buy that old Leaf. And so, yeah, we're just kind of in the beginning stages of talking about it. But the roof rack is kind of the one of the deciding factors right now. John says, my buddy Don wants to sell his Nissan GTR and get the Plaid. Yeah, probably be faster. I can't imagine how it wouldn't. Well, Glenn's got roof rails on his Model Y Performance if we need to verify. Okay. If it comes to it, I will reach out, because that might be something we're going to do. Jason's getting pretty good increase in questions on his Tesla from neighbors. How much does it cost you to charge your car? $6. Yeah, that's a game changer. Even though, like, again, referencing my glorious spreadsheet here, I had charging costs. Some of them were $18 plus. $18.55 is the highest one I see on the list right now. That's pretty high. And if you're doing a few charges in a day, that adds up. But I still feel like with gas prices rising, we're still probably pretty well ahead. Dennis says, I had an 05 Prius, 345,000 miles, original pack. Unfortunately, a deer totaled it. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, we're at around, I haven't checked lately, but it was over 220 last time I looked. So I don't know, with how little we've been driving in the last 2 years, I don't know if we're, and especially how little we've been driving that car, I don't know what it would be up to now. But the Model Y is over 28,000 in under a year. We're coming up on my delivery date anniversary, so I might do a video on that too. I know everybody kind of does, but I don't think a lot of people have put that many miles on in 1 year. So we'll see. Who knows what I'll do? I'm a madman. The least madman. Anyway, so really that was a lot of what I had to talk about today. I'm trying to just check through my notes here, and overall, if there's something else you guys want to discuss in the chat, you're welcome to. The Gigafactories are close to actually opening. There's GigaFest on April 7th in Texas. I won't be going to that. I would love to, but we just got back from our trip. And then in May, I'm going to Sound of Silence rally in Custer, South Dakota. I don't know if there's still openings left. They were capping the registration at 200. I finally got around to booking my hotel there, and prices have gone up since they first announced the event. So hotels in that area are getting scarce, and prices have gone up considerably. So wishing I would have booked earlier, but that's all taken care of. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, staying in Custer and seeing all the sights. So, yeah, I wish I could go to GigaFest and, but really if I went there, I'd want to get a tour of the factory, and that's probably pretty unlikely. So, maybe if they give factory tours like they did in Fremont for a while, if that becomes a thing there, maybe sign up and go in the fall or something, because I would like to go and see it, but we shall see. Let's see. Dennis says it's currently running $33 per month to home charge the Tesla. Yeah, I don't know how much it is for us right now. My score on my in the app is all screwed up because we went on that trip. We'll take a look at it here. Charge stats. Yeah, you can see 68% supercharging in the last month. Charged in the last 31 days, I charged a total of 1,644 kilowatt hours. So over a megawatt hour and a half, and spent $394, and most of that was supercharging. But I saved $293 compared to what I would have spent in gas. So I'll take it. It's still better. But that'll all be part of part 3 of the road trip and the wrap up in the stats. So Todd is going to GigaFest. I think Dan Birkland is going down as well. I would like to. It's just too much solo time away from home. And I took Joan out of school a long time to do the Florida trip. Even though some of those were off school days, we kind of stretched that a lot. And, I could, even if I could take her, I wouldn't be super productive or get a lot done. It would be fun. We'd have fun on the trip. We'd have fun there. Even if we got in, it would be fun and, cool to share that experience with her, but it's really not the place to bring, an 8-year-old. So, I'm just skipping that one, and I'm gonna miss it terribly. But like I said, maybe toward the end of the year, if they're giving tours, I would try to get tickets for a tour at that point. But Todd, take a lot of pictures, okay? Send them back. If you're down there on a Wednesday, we'll have you as a guest on the show again, and you can talk all about it. John says the body shop put his Tesla into service mode, so he's got no access to cameras now. I thought Tesla could only put your vehicle in service mode. No, I think it's just one of the menus. I think you can put it in service mode in your garage. I'm not sure. Maybe that's wrong, but Yeah, maybe there's a code they type in the screen. I don't know. I can see that they don't want you snooping around their shop as they're working. Um, that's how John plans his big heist for the body shop, is by scoping it out with the Tesla first. Then after he gets his car back, he goes in there Mission Impossible style, lowered down on a rope, and drops in, steals all the sweet ice cars there. Um, Todd's used 197 kilowatt hours for $13, so he's got me beat. Um, oh yeah, I missed some of this on the. Might be good to add. Might be good to add a sheet, adding compare average gas prices on your trip. Yeah, I should do that. Um, especially in the different areas I was, because normally I just stick whatever number we have here, but if it's way more expensive in Tennessee, it'd be good to have that variety. Jason's trying to go to GigaFest with Dan. Yeah, take pictures while you're down there. I'd love to see them, and if you can send them to me, I'll put them on here. Or if you want to be on, either live while you're down there or, afterward, get you on the live stream, and you guys can talk for a while. Yeah, Sound of Silence is May 20th to 22nd. Cleanse at the Deadwood. Oh, in Deadwood, then Custer for the rally. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the link to the registration site is offhand. I can try to find that and put that in the description. But like I said, I don't know if they've hit their 200 number yet or not. Diesel fuel is $5.19 a gallon. 50 gallons would be $260 essentially. Yeah, it's crazy. Hopefully prices can come down and things can get normalized a little bit. But I don't know. And a lot of people are like, well, just buy an EV, and a lot of people can't do that yet. Yeah, Glenn, I'll find that link. I think I had it up earlier today when I was checking something out. So, I think last year they had or 2 years ago. I can't remember when that was. If it was last year or 2 years ago, but they had a list of like suggested hotels, and you get like a discount or something. I was looking for that earlier today, and they didn't seem to have that. So I will put it in the description, I guess. If you guys will bear with me, I'll try to do that right now. Because everyone likes to look at the side of my face. I guess it's better than looking at the front of my face. In history. Sorry, this is taking longer than I expected. But that's it. This is it. This is it. Okay. So I will flip you guys over to second screen. This is the URL. I will copy that. And then bear with me another second while I get this into... Oh no, you're seeing behind the scenes. Why is that not working? Okay. By now you could have copied it down yourself. Okay, so now that should be in the description. And let's see, is it in the description on my computer? Well, you might have to refresh after we're done. You might have to refresh your page, but that's good live streaming right there. Man walks off camera and mutters to himself for 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Well, you guys got it figured out. Anyway, I think, man, I am just fantastic at endings, but I think that's kind of all I really wanted to cover today. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know in the next couple minutes, but just one more of those for good measure. There's starting to be more live events for EV owners. So if you're looking for an EV or want to get in touch with EV owners, look for the different groups on Facebook or Twitter, or just search online for your EV events in your area. The Electric Auto Association is another good resource for stuff like that. I know Todd put a new event for April in there. I just signed up to attend an event in Mankato on, I think, April 9th. That's going to be like a ride and drive event. People will be able to do test drives. It's going to be at Mankato State University, or Minnesota State University, Mankato now. They've changed that since I got old. So, if you're looking for stuff like that, I think Cars and Coffee are going to start kicking off. I know they are going on in some places, but I think they're going to start kicking off here in the upper Midwest. And so hopefully the summer is disease-free and people are ready to get out and talk about EVs. So should be a lot of opportunities to showcase your vehicles if you've got one, or to learn about them if you want to. So, all right, the link works. Fantastic. Chris says he's about deaf, so the muttering was pretty normal. Well, good. My wife can never hear what I'm saying either, so I think the word she says most often to me is, "What? I just can't hear you." So that's there's our box elder friend, if you missed him earlier. Where do we find that info on the meetups? I'm part of on Facebook. If you want to be on Facebook, I'm part of the few different like state Tesla owner groups. So I'm part of the Minnesota Minnesota Tesla Owners Club on Facebook. There's North Dakota Tesla Owners, South Dakota Tesla Owners. I'm part of those as well because they're very friendly people who will help you if you're stranded or blow a tire in their state. And so they've been welcoming as far as letting me join their groups as well. So there's groups like that. I'm also in the Minnesota EV Owners Group. That's just a generic everybody group. And then there's other places like the Electric Auto Association is another resource for places to find different events and things. Yeah, I think those are the main places I would look. And, there's also, Todd just said the Minnesota EV Owners Group too. Yep. And people are gearing up to do more events, and it's exciting. Hopefully we have a beautiful summer and people are interested. Yeah, really. Glenn says I could start a car only account, I guess. I closed my Facebook a few years ago. Yeah. The only reason I haven't closed my Facebook account is because I'm in the Tesla groups that are on Facebook. There's nothing else holding me there. The Tesla and the Minnesota EV Owners Group. I really enjoy interacting with those groups, and I like they're generally very positive groups, which isn't the case for owner groups everywhere. And those groups are also pretty supportive of people asking questions, newbie questions. Or if you get a huge ding in your rim in Florida and you're wondering whether or not you should take it to a service center, you can put a picture in there and say, hey, what do you guys think? Here's what I'm thinking. And you'll get good advice. And you'll get back to Minnesota without a problem. So, there are good reasons to be in those groups for that reason, or for that, but if somebody said they just don't do Facebook, I would totally understand. Yeah. Dennis, have a good night. And all the rest of you also have a good night. Like I said, I'm kind of out of topics. I wanted to really, excuse me, I really wanted to focus on the VW stuff because we've been so long waiting for that reveal. And I feel like it was a good tease, but we're still going to be waiting a couple years for that. So wanted to talk about it. I do think for the most part it looks good. As long as you're not stuck behind it, it's going to look good. And then once they lift the rear gate, then it looks good on the inside too. So we'll see. Hopefully it comes in a great form earlier than expected, and they just sell a ton of them. So, John, thank you very much. Didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Little coffee sticker there. I don't know if I can. Can I put that on? Add it to the broadcast. Oh, you don't get to see the little guy doing the pair character exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Well, if you can see it in the chat, it's way funnier than when I bring it up on screen. So I will take that off. But thank you, John. That's very kind of you. Roland's going to sleep, so I think it's time to sign off myself. So thank you all for joining. Look for this Sunday will be part 2 of the trip. Should have some cool nature through the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, meeting EV Dave down there. Last episode we met Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy, there. But this one will be EV Dave, then us getting to the beach and doing some of the beach activities and some of the chargers around there. Got to see some dolphins, so some cool stuff. Beautiful sunrises. Oh, Glenn, thank you very much. Like I said, you didn't have to do that, but the pair people offering coffee and working out are hilarious. So thank you very much. So like I said, this video is going to take us from Great Smoky Mountains down to the beach. I've got some gorgeous sunrise, sunset photos and things that I'll be sharing. I'll try to keep it not too family trip, slideshow, but I do want to kind of give you the vibe of you were on the trip with us. And then the following week will be the drive home, the comparison, all the stats you just got to peek at, charts and graphs and all that fun stuff for those that like that. And if you just haven't heard enough of me talking this week, I was on the Living Electric podcast that was released this Monday with Brandon Boggs, and we had a fantastic conversation. I actually came off more eloquent than I do here, so it might be worth watching. But we had a good conversation about kind of how I got into EVs, road trips and stuff like that. And it's just kind of a different thing, but it was a fun conversation and kind of fun to have a back and forth. So hoping I can get him and or Alex on this show at some point. I didn't have time to send him a link for this one, but I hope I was able to mute that. That was very loud. But I'd love to get them on this program. They're on Eastern time, so it's even later for them. But had a really fun time with them, and like I said, would love to have them on. So maybe in the next couple weeks that will happen. But for this week, I'm going to sign off. My voice is starting to go, so that's a good sign it's time to let it roll. So have a great week. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you very much, John and Glenn, for the donations there. The super stickers or whatever, but they're hilarious, and I appreciate it. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Look for the next part of the road trip on Sunday, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye.